evening. It's me, Audrey Lee, and I'd like to welcome you to Marriage and More. And this week we're going to pick back up under under construction, having our cruise, and talking about what we're under construction in our life. And then we're talking about what our crews do to help us through the process of being under construction. So I want to pick back up with Lady Fee. We were talking about on last week how Granny impacted your life and some of the things that she's poured into you, and we were actually just kind of scratching the surface. But what I want to ask you about, and I remember, kind of going through this with you when you first knew that you were going to be a pastor's wife, and how hard it was, and transitioning from that down, just everything in your life. I remember you having conversations about that, and I feel like there may be some younger first lady listening that's under construction, and that was under construction when she became a first lady.
Yes, Lord.
So I just want you to kind of share and, tell me about that.
Because I will tell you, I'm still under construction. Got a couple of red tapes, blue tapes, and yellow tapes.
Caution sign.
But I will tell you, when we were first at that crossroad, and I knew that when God even moved us from our former church to the Mount, I knew what God was up to then. And it made me feel a certain kind of way. I personally want to rebel. Okay. Because I didn't want to take on such a huge responsibility. Okay. A huge undertaking. Because I was used to my little inner circle. We hung out. We had a good time. We partied. Got drunk. We had a good time.
Come on,
and that's what I like doing.
Come on, girl.
And God had to really do some reconstruction over here.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I was the type of young lady growing up. It bothered me to see a preacher's wife, pastor's wife out in the clubs, getting a drink on. And I didn't want to be that kind of person.
Yes.
So I knew it had to be a quick transition. And I was like, Lord God, I need you to help me. And during this time, I had to pull back from some people.
That's right.
That I knew were very near and dear to me. But I had to pull back because I wasn't strong enough on my own to continue to hang with that same crowd.
Yeah.
And with time, it's almost 8 years now. With time, with plenty of prayer, my mom praying with me and for me, and my husband, he always would tell me, Philitha, just be you. Don't try to change who you are, because people can appreciate and love you better for you. Because that's what I got caught up in, trying to be what they will say is the first lady.
Okay, come on now.
I was trying to put on all these different roles and airs, and I started losing myself because it wasn't me.
Yes.
It wasn't me. But I thank God that I can say now today that I'm free.
Yes.
That's right.
I'm free because I know whose I am and who I am. And I know that I can have an enjoyable time with my lady friends.
Come on
without being disrespectful,
being
a woman of integrity, and still be a woman that can be respected and looked upon. Because it's important that people can see the transparency in me, that it's okay. That you don't have to walk around here with the big fluffy hats on,
come on,
straight down to your ankles, and you're dressed kind of with a little flair to say I'm the first lady. Because what we're doing, we're not being true to who we really are.
Come on now.
We have to admit that we're under construction. And it takes God to do the work in our lives. And when He does the work, you'll come out with pure gold. Now people can be able to say, you know what? I like her walk.
Yes.
She keep it 100. She loves God's people. She loves her husband. She loves her children. She loves her church. She loves her family. And she's true to who she is.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, that's the first lady
in my life, because I struggle.
Yeah.
God, I struggle. So women out there, if you're early in this first lady role, because you didn't sign up for it, but God called your husband, give God time. Pray and ask God to help you, to strengthen you, to mold and make you into the woman He wants you to be. Not what the church wants you to be, but what God wants you to be.
Amen.
And pray that if you have a husband that's going to push you, encourage you to be the woman God is calling you out to be. And I promise you, you'll see your ministry just flourish. You'll see it flourish.
Love that, girl. You done set some people free, first lady. You done set some first ladies I'm telling you. Like I was saying, you set a lot of people free. A lot of women that are in ministry, whether they're first ladies or whatever, because I would even say for me in teaching marriage and more, I was like, now Jesus, look here.
Yeah.
Like you. I like to have my cocktails. I might want to go and dance or do something, and now I got to change all of this of who I am
Yeah.
because of that. But then I said yes to him.
Yeah.
I said yes, and my mama would be like, Marie, you gotta watch what you're doing, and you better watch what you. And I realize now, because you know when you first go into it, like you say, you do want to rebel because it's like, how dare they judge me, and I'm grown.
Yeah.
But you have to understand that you don't want to do or say anything that would bring shame or dishonor to the name of God and His ministry. And I had to learn that.
That's right.
Because I was like, Lord, you sure make this thing ministry and being a Christian. You be making it hard sometimes. Because I just be wanting to be free and be who I am. But the good thing is, when you have a good crew and a good support system, you can be who you are.
That's right.
You know, my next question to you is this. Because a couple of shows ago, we talked about how we have women in the church where their husbands, they would go out and dance and all of this. Okay, so being a first lady, you a wife also, right? So how do you and Pastor Kelton balance your date life? Like, you know, because I'm like, I think you still have to have that. Do y'all still go out to dinner and maybe, you know, enjoy each other, enjoy some music, you know, maybe if you have a glass of wine? I'm just wondering, you know, do y'all go dance? Do y'all maybe go to a concert? I just want to know from you, and I'm sure it's probably a lot of people listening want to know.
I will tell you this, we have to continue to date. Now, is it easy all the time? No. We was just talking about this the other day. We stole some time away Friday night.
Wow.
We went to the Hook, and it's a restaurant I just seen online. I want to try because I love crawfish. So we went there, and we had a good time, just laughing, enjoying each other, eating, just celebrating life, celebrating love. It's what we want to do to enjoy each other. So date night is whatever we want to make it. Sometimes we may go bowling. There are times we might just go to the movies. But we have to make that time for each other. And one of the things that we committed to is making sure we at least do it once a month. If nothing else, do it once a month, because we're both busy. But we got to make that time for each other once a month. And that's time when we get away from everybody. The phones turned off, you know, the elders, the deacons. Can't nobody call. If it's a 911, they'll send a text to one of us. If it's that requires us to be able to go and see about somebody at that time. But that's our time for each other. And we have to break away. Now, when we go on vacations, ooh, that's our sabbatical, girl. That's our sabbatical. That's Felipe and Kelton's sabbatical.
So that ain't first lady.
Not first lady.
And Pastor Kelton. That's Felipe and Kelton.
That's our time. And I tell you, we enjoy ourselves with each other. I mean, we look forward to our vacations. My mom teases all the time because she gets the luxury of vacationing with her grandkids, and we take that time out. But that's what the crew is all about.
Yeah,
right?
the crew. That's right.
So
gotta have a good crew.
When we go on our vacations, we leave our kids, and we don't have to worry about anything. When we on our Caribbean trips, we turn the phones, because I'm not paying all the extra money for them international fees. So I turn the phones off, make sure that we have our kids' insurance cards here, and we enjoy ourselves. We really do.
Because you need it.
It's important, because you can't allow people to put you in a box. And I will tell y'all, it was more me than Kelton. Kelton would always tell me, Fee, don't let people put you in a box. Because he would tell me in a minute, ain't nobody put me in a box. And I'd be like, well, baby, you know you can't, you got to watch it. You can't. But you know, God teaches you. He teaches you wisdom. You will know your audience. You know how to carry yourself. If I'm in a place where there's a bunch of babes in the Lord, I know I better not get out there and dance, because they're not going to understand that. And I can just be slow dragging. But because they're immature Christians in the Lord, I respect that. Now, it's not that serious. I don't have to bust a move. Let me sit down somewhere and just celebrate the rest of y'all and let you have a good time. It's not that crucial to me. That's the same with a drink. It's not that crucial. There are immature people in your your audience or in your surroundings, and you have to be mindful of that.
Yes.
But when hubby and I have our time, that's our time, and we're gonna enjoy each other in our own intimate space. So we try to make the best of it whenever we get our time together.
I love that. Well, let me ask you this. I'm just asking all kinds of questions.
I see you on the road.
Because people be wanting to know stuff like this.
Yeah.
So let's say one of your members maybe just got married or celebrating some big milestone in their life, and they invite you to an event. And they have a DJ there, and they have a bartender there, and some more of your members of the church are there. So do you and Kelton go and be like scoping it out to see who on that dance floor, who dropping it like it's hot, and who's doing the wobble, and who's, going to the bar and stuff like that? Because let's just be real, and I'm just going to be honest, you have a lot of people that are in the church and that are in leadership positions that do tend to, kind of judge a little bit. So I just want to know, how do y'all handle things like that?
Well, I mean, we get invited to a lot of events. Some we go to, some we don't.
Well, I'm sure a lot of weddings, for sure.
So when we do attend these events, one of the things that Pastor K loved to tell me, Fee, if you're going to go to a party, you go to a party so you can dance, right? So when I'm at those parties, depending on what song it is, most of the time I do chair dancing. They wobble, some wobbling from the chair. But I don't sit around looking to see who's going to do what, because I want people to be comfortable. And I feel people, I went to a wedding not long ago on Mother's Day. Those individuals were enjoying themselves. They were not doing anything out of order, disrespectful. I was so busy trying to eat my food and laughing at different folks. I didn't have time trying to see who was going to drop it the lowest and whatever the case may be, because it was a celebration. And when you go out to celebrate, you enjoy yourself, whether it be you want to drink a glass of wine or if you want to dance. It's a celebration. The only thing I would ever have anything to say about if it's one of our leaders in the church getting out of order, then you have to pull that person to the side, because you need to be mindful of the position you're holding as a leader of the church, that you don't offend anyone. Now, if you want to leave here and go have your Heineken or whatever else you like to do or drink, that's fine. But you have to remember, these are people you fellowship with every day, and you're only tarnishing your character when you're caught up into doing all that kind of stuff because you don't care what nobody think about you. Well, you have to care, because when you're in that leadership role, you got to be mindful and be respectful. But other than that, I'm all in for everybody just enjoying themselves and having a good time.
Yes. I love that. I'm just so blessed that you're able to share and pour out, because you have a lot of people that are just starting out being pastors and being first ladies, and sometimes they don't always get the right advice, and sometimes people are trying to help, like you say, and they will put you in a box and have you sitting up there just as stiff, because I feel like to be an effective leader in ministry, you have to be compassionate, you have to be real, and you have to be relatable. And if people can't relate to you and they don't feel comfortable, then it's like I'm just really sitting there for nothing, just waiting my time out until it's over with, so I can just say I've been to church. And when people come into the church, it's like my mom was saying last week, the church is the hospital. That's where sick people go, to get what they need. So I feel like sometimes we be expecting people to come to the hospital already well. They're not supposed to come to the church under construction. They're supposed to come to the church ready to work, ready to do, and and people are not understanding that. So I just want us, because I always tell people, because when I meet people and they say, you have such a sweet spirit, you're so humble and this and that, I tell them my mom and my aunts and my grandmother and even my husband, Lord Jesus, they keep me humble. Because I think being who I am, if I wasn't honest and I wasn't transparent and I wasn't genuine, I couldn't do Marriage and More. I couldn't do, other things that I do, because basically it's my life. And like we were saying earlier, how some people don't want to tell their testimony. Some people don't want to, open up. And what God showed me was, even when I came to speak at your church that time, I had planned out what I was gonna do and what I was gonna
You
say.
did. Bless your heart.
And when God told me, now you finna go in there and tell your testimony, I literally cried
Yeah.
because I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And when that woman came up to me, she said, your ministry finna start now. And I'm like, ministry? Okay, God, whatever, you know. And then Bishop say, you know, start teaching marriage and more. You know, he asked me to teach it a couple of times. And when he spoke to me and told me, okay, God showed me this is your ministry, this is your calling, and I accepted the call, then God was like, okay, you know everybody finna be in your life.
Right.
You know your life is finna be on display.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna need you to get okay with being transparent.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to be all right with saying that I had low self-esteem at one point in my life.
Yeah.
At one point in my life, I felt like I had to accept a whole lot from my husband.
Yeah.
Because that's just what it was supposed to be. Because for one, I didn't want to look like a failure at marriage, because longevity is in our family for marriage.
Yeah.
Our grandparents were married with almost 50 years before Papa passed.
Yeah.
And Gwen, how long you and Uncle Murphy been married?
43 years.
And Aunt Carol?
38, I guess.
And Mama, you had longevity, you know, in your marriage too, until things went awry. Exactly. So I was like, I can't fail at this.
Yeah.
You know, and then I
Pressure.
felt like I couldn't, I just had to deal with it.
Yeah.
And finally, when y'all started to see and discern what I was going through, and y'all were like, look, it ain't always been like this. And then Cal to tell me in a minute, "No, I ain't never dealt with Uncle Robert having to cheat, but you can talk to your Aunt Gwen about that." Because she did what she did. I'm being honest, she did.
That's okay.
It was like when I first started experiencing, I was like, look, how I'm going to go to my auntie and tell her this, and she might look at my husband different. She might be judging him. She might be like, girl, you need to run. But what I love about it, Aunt Gwen, was when I was able to come to you.
It's all right, good.
It is. It's fine.
Yeah.
It is. You get what you need.
I got what I needed.
Yeah.
I was able to get strength.
Yeah.
And I was able to learn how to pray.
Yes.
And then when you said go to your mama, because I was thinking like, Lord, my mama was already telling me how hard-headed I was being, you know, as a kid. And when my mama was like telling me what grandma went through with Papa and, you know, all of this stuff, and how we got little sisters and little brothers and we got old and tried to figure that out.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like, okay, Lord, I ain't crazy.
Yeah.
You know, you know, this stuff happens and you can make it through it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, when I think about everything I went through in my marriage and, you know, still endure sometimes now, I think the leverage that God has given me is if you just gonna be open and transparent,
Yes.
the devil don't have nothing to hold
You don't
over
have
your
nothing to
head.
hold over your head.
So whatever issue come up or whatever, you just deal with it.
Yeah.
I got you, and you keep it moving.
Yeah.
So I just want to tell you thank you for that. And Aunt Gwen, I really want to know, you know, how did you deal? Cause with me, and I'm just gonna be honest. I want to go hurt somebody, like, for real. And emotions was just high and all over the place. So
It is
That's
normal.
normal. That's
Yeah.
natural.
It's natural.
First natural,
So,
then spiritual.
because you was so calm and you just letting me cry and rubbing my head and all that, and you just talking to me, and I'm trying to figure out why.
That was
so
then.
calm. That was then, honey. I was not calm.
Okay.
She had already wept the
I had
storm.
already. Gwen had did what Gwen wanted to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Gwen didn't have a problem with going tap on the shoulder.
Uh-huh.
She was careful.
Yeah, I got
And you know, say it's time for the come on in.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh-huh.
let them know that that's mine.
Okay.
You know? But you know, I had to realize though, at the end of the day, like I still say, you can't change them. You
can't.
No. And you know it's alright. You pray for God to change him, and never seem like this way. He bring more. Look like the more you pray for God to do the change and the transformation. Look like
More happen.
Wait a minute, more happen.
Yeah.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute. That's just like you asking for peace and all hell breaking.
Okay then.
That's true.
So,
Now, Lord,
mhm.
I didn't ask for this here.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
ask for this.
Yes.
I just asked you to do a change.
Change.
Yeah.
And the Spirit come back, but you can't tell me
Tell me
how to work.
change it.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't tell me how to work it. You
Yes.
can't tell me how to fix it. You can't tell me how to stop it.
Mhm.
You can't tell me how to change it.
Mhm.
All you can do is, you didn't ask me, now be still.
Yeah.
Yes.
And pray.
Pray.
Whoa, God.
And stay faithful to me.
Yes.
See, because sometimes we want to get in a corner with a pity party.
Mhm.
Poor me. Realize you're not the only one.
That's
Yeah.
And you're not the first and you're not the last.
That's right. That's true.
Oh, you and Granny had that bad telling me that, Lord, because
And
I
you-
sure thought I was.
No, and you just gotta wait on God. I'm
God.
telling you. That's why when people tell me,
Mhm.
"Ooh, Sister Malone, I want my hoof done,"
That's
I say,
like-
"Wait a minute, hold up. You want the good and the
He
bad?
tells them that.
You want the good and the bad?
Uh-huh.
That's the only way you can have what I got now. You got to get that bad with it."
That's right.
Yeah.
But a lot of young ladies, they'll see how you living now.
Now.
Mhm.
And God knows you still don't see it's a struggle.
They ain't
Yeah.
never stirred.
Yeah.
It's still a struggle, Sister Audrey. It's still a struggle. But I know there's no struggle that God can't fix.
That's
Amen.
right. That's
You know,
right.
because the enemy is still doing his work.
Yeah.
Yeah, he don't
He
never
coming
take
to
it down.
to kill and destroy. And whatever he can tear down, he don't
gonna do
like
it.
if both of y'all is on the same page.
Mhm.
He don't want that to happen.
But some
That's why you got to stay prayerful and know what you're waiting on God to do. And don't be a nagger and a complaint. Because sometimes
Yes.
women's nag that man out that door until you ain't, they haven't been able to see what God was going to do.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then they look down the
Wow.
street. The woman told me one time, she said, "My husband down the street." I said, "No, baby, it can't be there because I see another woman down there." You ran them off a long time ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you ask God to do something and he show you without a shadow of a doubt
Mhm.
that you belongs to him and he's the head of your life, you wait on God.
That's right.
Yes.
Wait on God. Don't give God something and then take it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Wait
right.
on the Lord.
Gotta
Too
wait
many
on it.
times we say God is an ending giver. No, God is not an ending giver. We are.
Yep.
We bring it to the altar and we
Yeah,
take it
it
right
back.
back.
That's
up.
right.
And then we go home and do what we want to do. No, if you going home cussing that man out
Mhm.
and you discipline the man, then why you calling on God?
Oh, that's powerful.
Wait
Yeah.
on God, because guess what? God ain't gonna let him do no more.
Sure not.
He allowed
Because
it.
he allowed, and he know
allowed
when to stop him. And he know how to stop him.
Yep.
All you gotta do is be a prayer warrior.
Yeah.
I say I don't
That's
know
right.
Genesis to Revelation, but I know our Father's prayer,
I know that's
Amen.
right.
and
Yes.
I know how to knock. And He told me the door will be open. Seek, and I shall find.
That's right.
I know
Yes.
that.
That's right.
I know that. And one thing about them old people used to tell you, if you make your bed hard,
Hard,
lay
you gotta
in
lie
it.
in
it.
That's what
Yeah.
my mama was.
Yeah.
And she made you a strong woman. You gonna
Yes,
be a
yes,
wimp,
yes.
or you gonna be a strong woman.
Mhm.
Because if you made your bed, my mama never knew a lot of things that I went through.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But she knew, and my mama would tell me, you just gotta pray about it. Cause see, I had a daddy that was a booger.
Come on, Gwen.
So if she could tell me, cause he walked off
Yep.
and left 6.
6
All
children.
right now.
Wow.
6.
Wow.
And she used that. She didn't go into detail. She never talked them down. She never. Sometimes we as women, we tell our children too much.
Too much.
That's right.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
can they do about it?
Yeah.
Right.
That's why if you give them to the Lord, leave it there.
Leave it there.
Yes.
You ain't got to tell your friend too much, because I learned this too. I used to tell my friends a lot. The next thing I know, my friends
Your
was
husband.
doing what I done told them wasn't happening at home.
All right.
Wow.
So I learned that.
Yeah.
See, you got to, it's some
You
things
helping a
like
lot of
ladies
women.
say you got to keep to yourself between you and God.
God.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You know, and he'll put somebody in your pathway
Mm-hmm.
that only you could talk to them.
He showed
Wow.
And they gonna stand and be a prayer warrior, and they ain't gonna take up for you when you wrong, and they gonna let you know when he wrong.
That's right.
And they gonna tell you like I would tell young women out, pray honey,
Mm-hmm.
pray honey.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Don't try to change the man because you won't do nothing but make it worse.
you make a
Yes,
man.
But I
Lord
tell you,
Jesus,
you seek the
I
Lord
learned that.
more day and night. It's a day and night thing.
Yes, it is.
You know, it ain't praying. You go do what you want to do and come back and say, okay, God, pick up from here.
Yep.
Because I done did what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about this. Sometimes things take fasting and
And
praying.
praying. Yes,
When you done prayed a
Lord.
long time and you say ain't nothing happened,
Mhm.
pull away from that table.
That's
Yep.
right.
Pull away from some of them things that you know you
You
love.
Mhm.
And sacrifice because you need God to do something.
That's right.
Yeah.
And sometimes we crying for God to change the husband, but he need to do something for
Us
us
first.
All
Come on,
right.
Aunt Gwen.
Start with me.
You
That's-
have
I got what I
something.
say, Lord, I say, okay, do something with me.
Yeah.
And when he do something with you, then he know, then he can go to that husband.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm a hell raiser.
Mm.
Sometimes I was doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah, tell it.
Mhm.
But as you grow old, and I thank God that it's not overnight
No,
process.
it's not.
I was just
It's
gonna
a
ask you that
process.
because you know we don't want to wait. In this
gotta wait.
generation, we
It's a
want it to
process.
hurry up right
Microwave.
now.
Microwave.
It's a
It ain't no microwave
generation.
thing.
It's a microwave
Yeah.
generation.
No. And then if it don't work out, you say, I'm gonna get me another
Another
man.
one.
Let
Yeah.
me tell you something. You go get another one, and he might be worse than the
than
one
that
that
one.
already.
That's right.
So wait on God.
Yeah.
If you believe without a shadow of a doubt, you done sought the Lord about this relationship. You
Yes.
wait on him, and it might get so bad until you say, "Oh no,
Yeah.
Mhm.
You can have
It
this.
just can't be God.
you can have this,
Yeah.
babe." But if you know, you gotta know.
You got to know.
You got to know.
you
You
do.
gotta know.
Yeah.
got
Without a shadow of a doubt, you gotta know God's voice, because there's a lot of voices speak to you.
Yeah.
But you gotta be able to identify with God in the discernment
Yes,
spirit. I
you
tell you,
do.
any Christian need to discern
They
of
need-
spirit.
they do.
Yeah.
And know when God is speaking and when the enemy is speaking.
Yeah.
And when the flesh is speaking.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because our biggest problem is
It's
not
our flesh.
people, but it's flesh.
us.
It's
Yes, it
us.
is.
We are our biggest enemy.
Mhm.
But I tell
You
you,
right.
if we get a prayer walk with God,
Mhm.
and you know, sometimes God allow bad things to happen. Because I remember this, mother used to tell me this too, about how God used the devil as a flunky.
She sure would say that.
And I learned that and I began to observe it. That's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, because anyway, anything that he want to get his children back in line with,
Mhm.
all he got to do is send the enemy.
He sure do.
Yeah.
You allow it.
You
We
right.
allow it to happen. It's a divine and a permissive will.
That's
Come
right.
on, Aunt
Return
Gwen.
to your first love.
Mhm.
He do.
Come back
And
to your
then
first love.
here, one thing about God, he sometimes, every time the Israelites got out of line,
Come on.
he put the enemies
Come on.
to put them back in place.
All
And then he
right.
allowed them to get under captivity
Yes, he did.
upon their
Yes.
enemies.
Yep.
And when they
Wow.
cried out to him again,
Mhm.
he sent a man of God to deliver them.
Okay.
So whenever you get out of God's will, then yes. So if you want your mate to change, and you know God done gave him to you, and even sometime when you don't know, and you done
Yeah.
been with that book a long period of time,
You better just pray about
you
it.
better pray about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because guess what? If God didn't give him to you, you sure gonna have hell.
I'm
Yes,
telling
Lord.
You know if you haven't hell, you know God gave him to you. And you
Yeah.
gotta pray. Just think about one you went out there and
Then
got
pick
this
your
on
own self. Hello,
Yes,
somebody.
But I challenge us as women
Mhm.
of God. If we say we women of God, we need to let
Yes.
God structure and do the work that we trusted in Him to do.
I love this, and again, we are out of time. So next week, Aunt Gwen, and I think this is definitely going to be a blessing to a lot of young women, because let's just be real. You know, infidelity and cheating is happening. It's
Every
happening
day.
in the church. It's happening out of the church, and we have
real.
so many women that help to participate in it. So I think that this would definitely be an awesome show for us to start with on next week, and I think, you know, my mom and my other aunties and cousins will be able to chime in more. And until next week, guys, be blessed, and thank you so much for supporting Marriage and More. And that's it.